Welcome to Canadian music in the 80s and 90s and more. And I guess we're going to post this on the Stompin Tom fan club too, because this is very Stompin Tom related. I'm proud to be once again joined by my good friend Duncan Fremlin. Thanks for joining me again before Christmas.
My pleasure, Alan. My pleasure.
And I guess one of my main focuses today is, well, I want to say Merry Christmas to you guys and
Well,
hope you
Merry
guys have,
Christmas to you too, Alan. You and your
and
family.
I really want to get an update on what kind of trouble you guys are going to get into in 2024.
So
So,
very exciting stuff going on right this second. So I think you know, perhaps, I'm not sure if you know if I've spoken to you about Tom's best friend for many years, Gaet Lepine.
yes, you have.
So
Yeah.
lives in Ottawa, lives in a small apartment on fixed income. And so it lives a humble life, but a truly joyous, lovely man. I so enjoy Gaet. We talk
Mhm.
often, and we're just like two old buddies, and we just asshole around like no tomorrow. It's great. So he wrote an autobiography of sorts called Hard Knock Graduate, and it's a big, thick. Don't have it to show you. Where is it? Handy here. I should show it to you. It's about that thick. It's a binder, and it's his story, his life story. And believe me, his life is amazingly colorful, full of tragedies, highs and lows. But of course, the highlight was in 1964 when he was the bartender at the Maple Leaf Tavern. That October day in 1964, when a
Yep.
very hungry, emaciated Tom Charles Carner walks in with his guitar, and he and Gaet begin writing songs almost immediately and continue to write songs for many decades. So songwriting partner, best friend, traveled together, family
Mhm.
spent Christmas together. So very close, very, very close to Tom. Was around before anybody else, was around before
Yep.
Tom became Stompin. So that's who. So he also gave me a number of songs that he and Tom started but never completed. And when I say he gave them to me, I'm telling you, he gave them to me to do with as I wish. So
Right.
they're not finished. So I started this project 2 or 3 years ago to work on these songs and finish them. And there's
Yep.
one that we play in our show, in fact, recorded on our new CD. It's called Snarley's Hill.
Yep.
And so, but also, he's there's so many there's so many riches in this fellow's life that I was starting to write a second book about him, but it was just becoming too much. There was too much material. I was having a hard time finding a thread, putting it
Right.
together. So I started a special website, Alan, and every few days I'm posting a story from the book
Mhm.
and some videos, some audio. I've got some amazing stuff in my library that I'm dying to share with the fans. Recordings of Stompin Tom. I just discovered an old concert from Stompin Tom's from the very first tour that I did with Tom in 1990. I had never heard a live recording of that until today, and I just heard it today. And so I'm working on cleaning up the sound a little bit, and I'm going to be posting that on my new. It's called a sub track.
Okay.
But anyway, if the fan gets on my website, whiskeyjackmusic.com,
Right.
there's a post there that will
Mhm.
take them to the Substack site, and they can subscribe. It's all free.
Yep.
I get paid because people come to my shows and they buy my book, but this is all free. This is book number 2. And like I said, the riches that I'm going to be sharing I've already posted 3, 4 stories,
Okay.
introduced everybody to Gaet, and there's gonna be footage of me interviewing Gaet. There's gonna be footage of Gaet talking on the audio. So there's a lot of stuff, and I'm very excited about this. So
I've seen a couple of clips already, and
have you?
I'm quite fascinated to see input from a guy that was that close to Tom, especially when he was, you know, just getting started out.
Well, think about this, Alan. First of all, here's a French Canadian from rural Quebec,
Hmm.
born during the Depression. This was not a rich family. They were very poor.
Yep.
Moved to Timmins when Gaet was 12 years old because that's where the work was. There was a mine in Timmins,
Right.
Hollinger mine. We know it well.
Yep.
And so he worked, the dad moved there, worked in the mine for a while, ended up opening a taxi stand. So, and there's, here's Tom from English Canada. And the two of them, the English and the French, they get together and they're the best buddies almost immediately as these two solitudes come together. And as Tom said many times, if it wasn't for Gaet Lepine, there would not be a Stompin Tom Connors.
Right.
I heard him say that many times. So it's a remarkable Canadian story, is it not?
It really is. Like, I mean, it's like folklore. It's like, you can't make that up. Like, I mean, it sounds like it could have been made up, just
Yeah.
but it would actually happen, so it makes it even more remarkable. Like, I don't get too excited about Anne of Green Gables because maybe I would if she actually existed and the house here in PEI was the house she grew up in, but I don't really, I mean, I get the story is really great and people love it and stuff like that. I understand that, but I get a better feeling when I go up to Skinner's Pond and walk through that schoolhouse,
So let me
knowing
get
the
this straight.
history of the community in
Let me
there.
get this straight. Are you dissing Anne of Green Gables? Is Alan
Never,
Dalton
never.
dissing Anne I'm going to write this down. I'm writing this down. This is going to be on my new, this is going to be on, I'm going to write about this. No, how do you spell your last name? Dissing. Boy, as a PEI resident, man, you're walking a thin line here. You are in trouble.
No, it's not that I don't understand. It's a great story and a lot of people love it. Not that I don't understand it. I just,
You're
when
backtracking, Alan. You're backtracking.
I am,
You were
but
dissing Anne of Green Gables. Come on.
no, but I mean, the house would mean a lot more to me when I go up there if it was a real person that actually lived in that house, if you know what I'm coming from.
I hear you.
When you go into the Stompin' Tom Skinner's Pond schoolhouse, you get a feeling in there because it's a big piece of history of that part of the island.
So tell me something as a fan. Tom's been dead 10 years now. So as a fan, how do you look? And I'd be interested if this gets posted, when you post this on the fan club website, if fans want to reach out to me on social media and tell me the answer to this. But I'm curious how Tom has changed for you in 10 years. How do you look at him today differently than you did 10 years ago?
I don't look at him differently. I still think of him as the Canadian icon that loved our country so much.
Is he big? Is he a bigger icon today than he was 10 years ago, do you think?
I think he could be. Um, I'm hoping, I hope nobody's forgotten him, which is the reason I do what I do and you do what you do.
Yes.
Because I just don't want him to be, I hope he doesn't get forgotten because like even if it's people doing his songs, I don't care if people have to do his songs and pay tributes to him like that. Like, I mean, I saw the hockey awards, the NHL hockey awards last year, and I forgot who, I think it was Dirk Bentley sang the hockey song at the beginning. I wasn't a big fan of his take on it, but you know what? An American doing one of his songs,
Mhm.
that's not a terrible thing. It's spreading his, yeah.
Somebody described Tom as the Robbie Burns of Canada. He's
Yeah,
our Robbie Burns. And
yeah,
Robbie Burns is certainly not forgotten. Maybe you and I have already talked about Canada making a Stompin' Tom Day. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's not likely to happen. I think there was even a move on social media to do this. You might have even been the one that instigated it. I don't know, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. But it's a good analogy, I think.
If not me, John Arsenal will get on top of that for
Maybe
sure.
John's on top of it. Yeah. Oh, John gave me a beautiful gift. John, where is it here? I wanted to show it off. He sent me, I encourage fans to do this, Alan, by the way. He sent me, what did I do with it? Sent me a beautiful gift. Oh, here it is. Just a minute.
Yep.
It's for Christmas. Yeah.
Wow.
He sent me a beautiful Christmas gift, and I love unsolicited gifts.
Hmm.
Can I tell your audience that they can send me unsolicited gifts? And anyway, there it is. It's an album he found by a young banjo player, which is very nice. And he and his wife just sent me this gift. And I was away on vacation. I walked up to my front door, and there was this box standing there. So I've received some lovely gifts. You've given me a couple of pretty nice gifts.
Mhm.
That plaque over there about the Juno that we didn't win, that's a special place in my and that thing, and the plaque you gave, I think Douglas has it, the one that with all the all the highlights of
Right.
the tickets, and it was very, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just stuff I was collecting and sitting around. I thought it'd be nice in a frame and give you fellas, and
Yeah.
because I've really enjoyed the past several years watching you guys play and getting to know you, and not I'm a fan, yes, but I feel like we've become good friends too whenever.
You're kind of part of the mosaic that we created over the last 10 years, because the show has gone from an 8-piece with Bob and Howard and
Yeah,
Arlene for a while, and then Jen, and then and Eric, and it's sort of morphed, and now we have this very tight, very exquisite 4-piece band that is just with
yeah.
Billy. Billy McGinnis just knocking it out of the park every night.
Oh, he's such a fantastic musician. I don't know.
Yes.
Would you ever ask him to play guitar with you?
Oh
Because he's a
well, no, for
fantastic
sure.
guitar
No,
player too.
look, at our problem is we only have 2 hours to play in a show. Like,
Yeah.
no, seriously, if we were on the road for 4 or 5 nights a week for 3 or 4 or 5 months, man, he'd be playing all of the instruments. But there's so much, we just don't have time for everything.
But I mean, when you bring him on tour down here to the Maritimes, like
Yeah,
especially a PEI, you could sell out the show just saying Billy's with you.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's one of those kind of guys down here. He's just so well known. I've met his dad a couple of times. His dad gave me 5 CDs of Tom doing old time favorites that he
yeah,
recorded back in the 70s, which is just half of them are just Tom and his guitar.
yeah,
And it's just amazing to hear him sing some of those old classic Hank Snow and Will Carter songs. And,
yeah.
it's like, and apparently Tom gave it to Billy's dad years ago when Billy was touring with him. And it's just amazing to have that collection of music sitting around. I don't know if you heard any of that stuff,
I
but
have a tube album. Again, it's a gift from
yeah.
the fan. What am I talking about? It was a gift. This beautiful package, two or three albums in it with all those songs. Yeah.
Now, when you guys are planning, so I'm hearing coming back to the Maritimes
October.
in
I'm working on it
October.
right now. This time I'm determined to get into Halifax, which we've never done before. We're already booked into Charlottetown. We're booked into good on our website. The dates are all there.
My birthday's on the 8th, so I'd love to see a birthday show.
So that's probably a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
We'd have to stay over. We like a really good hotel in downtown Halifax. Can you cover the cost of that, and maybe 2 meals a day? Give us a per diem, Alan, for your
sure,
birthday, man.
I'll
We're
get working on that.
really no, we're happy to stay another few days. Just a nice hotel. That's all we need. Nothing,
Sure.
and a per diem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Will you be traveling with your new bass player, or will you be getting Rayo to play with you while you're
Rayo,
out here? He's gonna
Rayo.
join you guys.
Oh, I mean, we'd marry this guy if he'd come west, but it's legal now. Did you know that?
Is it? Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard
it's
that.
legal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard
Not
that.
you can't marry more than one, but
No,
I
there's
could
still
marry
laws
Rayo.
against that, is
Yeah,
there?
well, he's already married, and I'm already married, so that's a problem. But
Well, he's playing here in Charlottetown. He's part of a Grateful Dead cover band called Wharf Rats,
oh yeah,
and he plays the drums. And there's
of
two
course he does.
drummers. There's two drummers though. That's the best part. The Grateful Dead had two
He
drummers, and
must be
he's
making
fantastic.
he must be making a fortune.
No, we had such a good time when you were here
Yeah,
last
yeah.
last spring. My family just had an amazing time. I remember you warning everybody stay away from our table. Uh, and I thought my uncle might be a little offended about being called the Dalton Mafia,
Oh yeah,
but he said he loved it.
yeah,
He said he loved it. He thought it was great. And,
oh yeah. It was fun.
no, it was an absolute. You guys rocked that show. Like that show was. You had the joint just jumping.
Ellen, these were our people. These are our people. We are in
Yeah,
the homeland. This is the motherland for when we come when we cross the bridge, we're in the motherland. As Tom says,
that's
we're
right.
home. We're home.
Well, even Billy did a show at the Stompin Tom Center in late August,
Yeah.
that we all went up to see, and he had Leon Gallant with him, and he brought Tim Hadley with him.
Yeah.
And to see those guys on stage again, like there was supposed to be another show after theirs, and they
Yeah.
went well into overtime because the audience was just having such a good time, and they
Yeah.
were having a good time.
Yeah.
And the place was just, they had the joint just jumping. Like I can't describe how amazing it was. The crowd was just so into it. They were into it. So they just went, they must have went about a good half an hour over what
Right.
they were supposed to do. And
Nice.
well, you know what it's like when Billy gets up there and up to Skinner's Pond. And Lena was there.
Yeah.
That made it even better to have Lena in the crowd. She was there all week. And to see her down there enjoying the show and getting to say hello to her and having her actually recognize me was amazing too. Like she
Yeah.
actually came up, gave me a hug, and thanked me for what I've been trying to do.
You're a legend, man. You're starting to create a move on social media and everything.
Oh, she's such a great lady, though. She's such a fantastic person. Like,
She came to our show in September. We did 3 shows in Orangeville, which is not far from the Connors estate. So she drove down for one of the shows, and
oh, I saw
uh,
the clip of you guys playing at Tom's grave. That was something.
yeah, that's something else, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was really something. I know. I think Billy's done that before for someone else.
was he?
Someone else's grave, a fiddle player. The guy who wrote Maple Sugar, I think. Ward
Ward
Allen.
Allen. Ward
Yeah,
Allen.
they did something at his grave a few years ago. I saw a
Oh,
video of
really?
that.
Yeah.
But to see you guys do that for Tom, I thought
We
was
should go on a
really
tour. Whiskey Jack should go on a tour, play at all the graves. We could play at Tom, Ward Allen, maybe Al Cherney.
yeah.
Just pick some of these guys, and we'll just go grave to grave and do a tour.
When you get here, you could go to Gene McClellan's.
Jay McClellan, sure, sure. King
Yeah,
Gannon, man. King
yeah.
Gannon.
Where's he buried?
Gordy
Do you know?
Tap.
I don't know where those guys are buried.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started on Gordy Tap. I saw a documentary on YouTube about Hee Haw, and Gordy Tap and Don Heron were not mentioned once,
Yeah, yes.
which
Even
I
though
was,
even though Gordy was one of the founding, in fact, the story is that because he was the first one they went to, because he was the only one that knew everybody on both sides of the border.
yeah.
He's the one who brought Don Heron in. No, it's a shame, but the Americans think they invented the world. So
Did they shoot that in Canada, or I know it was
no, it was in
Canadian
Nashville.
produced, wasn't it?
No, it was Nashville. Gordy used to say that they all had so much, 3 or 4 of them or 5 of them would go out to dinner or for lunch after in the middle of the shoot, and they sit in a Burger King or something and just giggle for a couple hours, and they go, you can imagine, Junior Samples and Roy Clark, all these guys would just having so much fun with each other.
Oh, it looked like it was a more fun to shoot than anything. Like it
Yeah,
looked like it was a good time, but
yeah,
I was always amazed at the Canadian content on there.
yeah,
I remember meeting Don Heron as a kid, and I didn't really know who he was until because he wasn't dressed up as Charlie Farquharson when I met him, and then he told me to pull his finger, and he did the laugh, and then I knew who he was. I was like, oh, I know who you are now.
you know that he hosted Morningside for
I
2,
do.
3, or 4 years, because we were interviewed by him. We did a live performance on Morningside when he was on, and in the middle of the interview, he said, I used to play mandolin, which
Really?
nobody knew, but anyway, very low key interviewer. Zosky was much more
Yeah.
animated and more into it.
Well, Don was married to Catherine McKinnon for many years, wasn't he?
Correct, until he
Yeah,
died.
until he died. Yeah, and he used to be here every summer doing the uh, stage production of Anne of Green Gables. I think he played
Sure,
Matthew,
sure.
if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's a guy that had quite a career himself.
Yeah.
Um, did you ever get interviewed by Peter Zosky by any chance?
Oh
Or
yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
We were on Morningside a few times.
And are you still in touch with Tommy Hunter at all?
No, Tommy, I know his number and I could call him, but I doubt he'd know. I
Yeah.
think last time I spoke to him, he was a little confused now. I spoke to Don and Leroy, and they probably are more in touch with him than I am, but I think he's getting on. So
Yeah, he's probably I'd say he'd be pushing 90, wouldn't he?
you know what? I don't know. I don't know if he's that old. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Yeah.
I mean, he lived in my neighborhood in Mississauga where I
Yeah.
grew up. He lived
Yeah.
not far from us at all.
He's in
Uh,
London now.
he's in London now. That's where he's from originally, isn't he?
Somewhere around there, southwestern Ontario.
Okay. I had an interview not long ago with Brian Edwards because I wanted to congratulate him on his being inducted into the
Yes,
Canadian Country Music Hall of Fame.
sure.
Always a great chat, always a
Mhm.
great interview. Like I can't believe the career that man's had from such a young age too, up until now. Like,
No one could have done with Tom what he did. No one could have done that. He's the only one who had the passion and the
mhm.
commitment to go through what he had to go through to have a business relationship with Tom all those years.
Like and it seems to me like everybody he's worked with, they're not just business partners, they're friends as well.
Yeah,
Like, because he's really made solid relationships with everybody he's worked for, from
yeah.
Tom to Charlie Pride to
Because he
Tommy
liked
Hunt.
these people. He loved these people. He loved their music. He was like their buddy, and that's why they trusted him in their senior years. Which you
Yeah.
know, acts generally get less trustful the older they get. But in his case, he seemed to win their trust, and it was pretty impressive. Yes,
Did you know how well Tom was known in the States?
not at all.
I thought, well, I know he wasn't known to like fans, but I was told by Brian that a lot of the music
Yes,
industry in the States were well aware who
we,
Tom was.
we were playing at his 70th birthday party at the house, and he left the stage for a few minutes, came back and said it was Mac Wiseman calling to wish him a happy birthday. No, I
Really?
think you're right. I think many of the Nashville performers knew him. I don't think they were buddies. Ray Stevens. You remember Ray Stevens?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tom called me to the house one day and he wanted to ask me because he knew I'd played with Ray Stevens on the Tommy Hunter show. So he asked me what I thought of him. And I said, well, I don't know him personally, but the only experience we had with him on the Tommy Hunter show was of all the performers we performed with there, and there were a lot, he was the only one who didn't treat us well. If he was dismissive, he was angry. He was angry at us because we didn't know his song. Whatever, there was the song, one of his famous songs, I forget what it is, but we couldn't just reproduce the song off the top of our head. So he
Yeah.
got angry. I'm gonna
Wow.
sneeze. Excuse me. Ah, wintertime.
Yep. It's that time of year.
Yeah. So yeah, Tom and he was, he went down there to try and, make a splash, but he got turned. You know the story, I'm sure. So
Yeah, I know Tom T. Hall mentioned him in one of his songs.
did he? Yeah.
Yeah, he did a song called Canadian Women, Canadian Club, and he mentioned Tom taught me to stomp a tune or two.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a nice little tribute to him from an American. Brian told me that little Jimmy Dickens always asked how Stompin' Tom was whenever he
Yeah.
was working with him. Um, and I saw that the Foo Fighters were Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters is apparently a huge fan of Tom's.
Is he?
Yeah, there's a video of him playing in Toronto, and Sass Jordan got on stage with them to do a few songs because she played with Foo Fighters drummer, played for her for a few years in his early days, and he was up there rhyming off Stompin' Tom songs. He goes, "We're not going to do those songs, but I know them all," which I thought was kind of interesting. And I'm like, how
Right.
does Dave Grohl know who
Right.
Stompin' Tom is? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I guess in music circles, apparently Marty Stewart's a big fan as well,
Mm.
from what I've heard. And
Well.
I've heard he's like a very big country music fan of artists that a lot of people might not have heard of. So the fact that he knows who Stompin' Tom is actually pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Um, and then I also heard something about Willie Nelson seeing Tom at the Horseshoe back in the 70s. Like
Well, if
being,
the guy to talk to about that is Mickey Andrews because
yeah,
Mickey was, the good, bad, and the ugly back before Tom was Stompin' Tom, and that was back in the day when these, Fremlin Husky and people like that would come through town, spend a night or two at the Horseshoe, and then move on, and so there would be some overlap in those days, I'm sure.
I would have that's probably my dream interview for the Stompin Tom fan club, is to be able to sit down and chat with Mickey Andrews. But I know he's not really into the tech stuff. But if I could
No,
ever talk to him in person, I'd be really up for that if I'm ever back
yeah,
to Ontario.
yeah.
Um, I'm still obsessed with trying to organize getting as many of Tom's ex band members to Skinner's Pond sometime and doing a big show up there, because I think that would be the ultimate show, to get you, um, Billy, anybody that's played with Tom over the years, Mickey, especially Mickey, if he could make it, like just to get all of you guys up there doing, like, maybe just be there for a weekend.
A wide range of talent, of people from all it's he played with such a variety of people. He never did stick with, he wanted us to do a second tour after 93. I think we were sort of the first band.
Right,
It was us and him. He didn't just pick guys out of the air. And
right.
it went so well, he wanted us to come back. And I told him, I said, I can't afford to tour with you anymore, Tom. It cost me too much money. He didn't like that.
But he knew
But
who
it's
to
true.
pay. He always had solid backup bands with him, though. Like, he always had the
Yeah,
most solid musicians, I
okay.
think.
Some of them weren't so solid. They're. I saw at least three different versions of bands that supported him, and yeah, for the most part, they were pretty good. But there was one or two that weren't all that great.
Did you know the two guys from the Horseshoe days that would have been in Across This Land? I think it was Gary MP and
Oh,
Bill Lewis.
I didn't know them. No,
Because I know Bill Lewis, or his brother, played with the Carlton Show Band for
Oh yeah,
years.
oh yeah,
Um, I think both of them have passed away, but I was
yes.
always amazed that Tom could pull off a performance with no drums, with just a bass player, a lead guitar player, and him and his board.
It's called a bluegrass band.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
We don't
it's
tour the drummer anymore. And
yeah,
I'll tell you, you heard it to me, and I love drummers. A good drummer's worth his weight. But
right.
boy, the sound wise, we all love this four piece much better. It's a really solid. It's a band, and it's not just eight musicians on stage. This is something else. So
And I saw the video of you guys gathered around the one microphone. I thought that was really,
fantastic.
that
Yeah,
was incredible. Like, I
yeah,
was like, wow, that's the way
yeah,
you guys should.
yeah.
I love the way you guys did that. That was just an
Well, Tom
amazing
did that
show.
for years. That's what they did. Wolf Carter, they all did that for years.
Yeah, I guess that was the way it was done back in
Yeah.
those days. Like, I was always amazed the way Tom never had a pickup on his acoustic guitar. He just had a microphone there at,
Mhm.
and a microphone down by where he used to stomp his foot and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So I always found that was, it's really back to the basics of putting music together. But
indeed.
and nobody, I don't think anyone does that anymore, really. I mean, you guys are doing it, but
Oh, I think there's a few starting to win it over. There's a lot of complications that go along with lugging a enormous PA system with mics and amps and all of that stuff. I think one of the reasons that we're so turned on by this is not just the sound, which is CD quality sound, but the
yeah.
simplicity of the setup, and it just makes the enjoyment level. We don't travel with this enormous this 500-pound amplifiers and speakers and stuff. We don't need that anymore. Today it's 2024, just about. We don't need this stuff anymore.
No, the technology's there, so you don't have to, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Um, I love the new album, by the way. It's great.
thank
Um,
you.
I, it's just, I've even got suggestions for other Tom songs you might want to
Well,
explore.
yeah, before you get into that, um we've released It's a Beautiful World, Whitefish Flash Silver as videos from the new album. We also have in the can Don't Throw Coal in the Hole.
Yep.
There's Flame of Bruin, Where the Men Go Pooing, Don't Throw Coal in the Hole. That's become one of our more popular songs.
Yeah.
So that's the third video that's going to come out. I don't know if you saw Billy's fiddling on Zakuska Polka
Oh,
on
it's incredible.
YouTube. This guy, first of all, Zakuska, it's a El Cherney was the fiddler in the very first version, Tom's
Oh,
version.
was he? Yeah.
Yeah. and it's a difficult thing to nail. And Billy just, I love doing that song so much because I just love hearing the fiddle in my right ears. He just nails this thing. So there's a video on YouTube. Listen, anybody who's watching this, youtube.com/banjo dunk. There's some great new videos being uploaded on there every day. So subscribe, people.
I'm gonna
Subscribe.
put a link in the description of this
All right.
video on YouTube when I post it.
All right.
So anyone can click right onto it and check it
I've got
out.
a very, very cute little granddaughter here tonight, so I'm going to bid you good evening. But and a
No,
very
thanks for taking the
Merry
time to
Christmas.
chat.
No, not at all. It's always fun talking to you, and I'm trying to think of what else I can promote. But get on the YouTube. Get on the YouTube.
It's always nice to just have an impromptu chat too, even if there's not much to promote, because it's just great to chat with you again, sir. Give my best to your family, and if you see
You too.
Douglas, say hi to him, I guess.
All right, I'll do that.
All right, have a good Christmas, have a
Thanks
good
a
New
lot.
Year's, and I can't wait to see you what you're up to in the new year.
Alan,
Thank you, Duncan.
see you.